Welcome everyone to our backhand set of tutorials. This is tutorial number 1 on the grip and the basics of the backhand. So how do we hold the stick? Now what I need you to do is to get your stick face facing straight upwards. It's not allowed to be on any kind of angle, it has to be facing the sky. From there, put your left hand on top of the stick with the V facing right down the middle of the face. Now, with your right hand, it does adjust a little bit as we progress our backhands, but for now, what we want to do is put our hand straight on top. You should be able to see the top of your hand, not your fingers, not your thumb, just the top of your hand. This is really important as keeping our wrists strong is one of the key principles to being able to hit a consistent backhand. Make sure you can see your hand and not your fingers. The next thing we're going to talk about is the swing. So a backhand swing, we bring our hands back behind us, we rotate into our stickers in a pretty upright position, and then we drop our hands and we swing through to make contact with this part of the stick. It's really important that we drop our hands and then swing around, as if we don't drop our hands, we end up coming down too steep and often hitting with the back of the stick or lifting the ball. If you're starting out in the very beginning, bring your hands back to just behind your ears, drop them, so drop your stick down and then swing around and through. Again, make sure you check your grip. We don't want to be swinging like this with your fingers upwards. We want to make sure we can see our right hand when swinging through with a backhand. We also don't want our stick to be on any kind of angle, so often we see this. As we come through, we want to make sure the stick face is facing the sky. Next up, we're going to talk about body position. So when you make good contact with a backhand, your hands need to be this low to the ground. That's this far off the ground every time. If they're too upright, even by a little bit, you'll hit with the back of the stick. If they're too low, then you'll quite often go underneath the ball. So it's important that we think about our hands coming down to this far off the ground. Another good way to understand that is we want to hit right in the middle of the ball. So we want our stick to strike as if we were cutting the ball in half. Backhand is so complicated as we play in quite an upright position and then we need to get super low. In order to mimic that body position, put your left knee on the ground, your right foot up, and now you're in a pretty solid position to learn how to hit a backhand. We want to start with some sweeps to get the feel. So we make sure we've got our grip, our sticks facing upwards, and we just sweep the ball along the ground. Once you can consistently sweep the ball flat by keeping your hands that perfect level off the ground and slicing the ball in half, you can progress to a bit more of a hit. So the same body position, the ball is about a stick length away from our shoelaces. It's just sitting in that spot where I know my backhand edge is going to hit the ball. Now our small hits are not going to be much of a wind up. We're just going to bring the stick back behind us to about here. And then we're going to work on making good contact with the ball. You can see that I stay really still. There's not much movement going on. All I'm doing is bringing my hands back behind me and swinging through the ball. Quite often, people learning will still struggle with balance here, so they won't be able to hold their lunge in a balanced position. Now, I find this is all to do with where your head is. If your head's too upright, you're not going to be able to make contact with the ball. And if your head's too low, often you're going to end up falling backwards. So having your head position pretty much over your toes or over your knee is a really good spot to be able to make a small swing and hit the ball. Throughout all of this, the emphasis is just on making good contact with the ball. All the grip, body position, etc. will help, but the most important thing is that we make really solid contact with the ball on that sweet spot of our stick. A tip to help anyone at any level struggling with bad contact in their backhand is to hit one-handed swings. Now what this encourages is being able to control the strength of your right wrist, which is arguably the most important thing when making good contact with a backhand. If you're not holding the stick correctly, if you're holding underneath it, the stick will drop as you try and hit the ball. You won't be able to make good contact. So it's important to squeeze. You can have your hand part way down the stick if you like. Bring the stick back and make some good contact with the ball. You see with that one, I even went a little bit underneath it and the ball lifted. It's because my hand dropped a little bit. So now I'm going to try to be really strong and hit the ball nice and flat. Just like that. This little right hand trick is like throwing someone in a pool and they basically just learn how to swim by themselves. I find it is one of the absolute best backhand drills to get a good feel of wrist strength and being able to control your swing and make good contact with the ball. Once we've got the hang of some consistent small swings, maybe some one-handers on one knee, it's about then figuring out a really good body position in order to hit a backhand. Now, obviously, a lunge with your knee on the ground is really low, so I need to mimic that and put my hands in the same position as if I was going to strike the ball, then just hold this. So now I know that this is the body position I need to be in to hit a backhand. If I look like this, there's absolutely no way. Even if I start like this and then go into this body position, I'm adjusting the level of my hands too much to really make good contact. So make sure you're in that really solid low position early where you can get your hands low to the ground. From here, again, we're just gonna make a relatively small swing by bringing our stick back behind us, dropping the stick and going through the ball. If you want to, it's quite hard to hold this position. Fall forwards or fall that way as you hit the ball. Again, head position here is key. We want to keep our head almost over the top of our toes. Now, the last step of our backhand tutorial, going from small sweeps all the way to a proper swing, is being able to go from an upright body position to a low body position and then make a nice swing through the ball. So we're just going to start with the ball standing upright, no worries. We're going to push it out away from us, get nice and low, so actively get into that really solid backhand position and then swing through the ball. Make sure again your grip is really good, the right hand's on the top, your stick's facing the sky, nice and low, swing through the ball. The key is your grip, your balance, and just making good contact. You'll notice as well that because my head's in a really good position, as soon as I make good contact, I'm just flowing with where my head's going, and I keep going in that direction as I strike the ball. If you're struggling at any point through this step-by-step process, I recommend just dialing it back, going back to the previous step, and then adjusting as you go forward. You can see that I don't really have to hit the cover off the ball. I've just got to hit it in the sweet spot, and I've just got to keep my hands that perfect level above the ground so that I hit the middle of the ball. So I'm standing up, I push the ball away from me, I get low, and I swing through the ball. Hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on backhand basics. Please make sure to like and subscribe, it does really help, and we'll see you on the next one.